Okay everyone, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to bring in Revit families from Revit City and then also quickly change their materials to them if you need to, or to like quickly edit them, or how to edit them if you needed to, which is kind of the same. I'm not going to go too much into it because it's the same kind of functions as here. But the first thing I'm going to find, I'm just going to download a quick couple of things. Let's see. I'll download this one and download something else. Let's say sofa. See what comes up for that. Let's download this. And then the last thing I'm going to do is make a screen or something. See what comes up for a screen. We'll take this one. So these are the three that I downloaded. So the first one I'm going to do is the door. Now, so the one way that you can do it is you can go to Component and then Load Family. But it kind of works the same way, where it's like if you go to Door, the Door, the Door family, or the Door tool, and then if you went to Load and you try to load it in, say, a window, and it said, it's not in the correct family, you'd get that option sometimes. Or a better example may be, like if I go to Wood and try to do Timber, and it says that you're not in the right family. So the stuff from Revit City kind of works the same way. Is sometimes people will create them to be assigned to a specific family. So this door is most likely assigned as the door. So if I go to Component and Load Family, and then I find that door, sometimes it'll have to upgrade. If it's, you can see that it's not in the right family. So you'd actually have to go to Door, Load Family, and then find it and then load it. So that's can be a little bit of annoying to kind of like first figure out what the right place is for it. What kind of area it should be in. But the easiest way to do it is if you go to the Insert tab, you can actually load family. There's a load family button from the Insert tab, and that lets you just load basically anything in that you want to, and it puts it into the right spot with the right kind of family in the tool. So if I load in the door, it'll upgrade it. And then if I load in, and I'm just going to load in all three that I've done. You want to make sure that you're not active in anything. I think I still have the door command active. So if I'm not active in anything, it'll load it. So that's just one thing that you want to make sure. Revit can be picky sometimes. So now after you load in, whatever family file that you're loading in, first thing you always want to check is that component. So you click on component, and then you can scroll down and you can see what came in. So that sofa that I downloaded, that's under the component file, and it looks like that's the only one. Yeah. So just the sofa came in where it's basically a generic kind of model. A lot of times the component one is it's usually just generic models to them. So if I put in a sofa, you can see it's a new generic model as the family name. So when you click on it, it says it's just a generic model. And then I can, so what I was talking about with the material, if you click on it and edit family, and you can see this one's where it's kind of just like a DWG. So this one you really wouldn't be able to edit its material, unfortunately, which kind of sucks. But it looks like because it's got like a lot of mesh to it, and it's more of a DWG that's imported. So you really can't edit in any way. It's more like an entity. It's kind of like if you did something in SketchUp and then brought it in, as I showed you guys with Masson's. It's kind of like that, but a more of a detailed Masson of a couch. So that couch was somewhat of a bad example, but hopefully the other ones will show. So let me put on a wall quickly so I can actually add a door. Make it a solid wall. So now if I go to the door, you see that door is now, that I loaded in, is there, the residential door. As you can tell, when I clicked on the component model, the component one, there was, the door wasn't showing, but it is there for the door, and then you could pick on the type, and you can place it in. So now with this option, if you go to edit its type, you can see the different door materials here. But sometimes, as I mentioned in the materials tutorial for adding materials, you may not know exactly, what this door material is pertaining to. So if you click on Edit Family, now you can click on this extrusion and see what material is associated with it. So you can actually go in and change the material in your project. So this one, does it not have material? So this one, if I click on it, you can see that there's no material in this window. But now if I hit Edit Family, this is another family inside of a family, which gets really confusing. But now if I click on this, you can see that it has no material assigned to it. So I could start to, create materials and add materials to it. And then load it. And then once I did it, I would load it into project. And first I would pick the door. So it would load it back into the door, and then I would load the door back into the project that, your project file for your building. And then it would update it, and then you'd have to, and that's only if there isn't material assigned to it. And it'll update it. But if it's something that has a material assigned to it, so for this instance, I want to know what this material is. It's the 08 door wood panel material. So I can just close this out, and I can close that out. And then, so if this wasn't here where it said 08 door wood panel, if that wasn't, a way to find it through just edit type, then you can go to the Manage tab and then look for that door panel. You could search for the name, find it, and then update its material. So it was this one. And then if I wanted to change, say it's the wood color, or like a different type of wood, I could change it to that. So now it updates it, and it'll update how the wood looks. So that's kind of how you start to get Revit families in. Interesting thing now is going to be finding where that how the screen came in. So now for the screen, obviously you can see that with the component, the screen isn't showing up in this list. And then obviously, it didn't show up in the door list or the window list here. So that's where you have to, so the first thing, when you can't find it like that, first thing you do I would do is right click on the file itself, properties, see what extension it is. So if it's an RFA, that means it's a Revit family. So if it is a Revit family, then I would just open it. And then when you open that file, you can see that it's, okay, so its family is a curtain panel. So that means it has to be within a curtain wall. So if I go back to 3D and I put in a curtain wall, so that means it was a curtain panel. So a curtain panel are basically these glass panels or a solid panel. So if I tab to one of these glass panels and unlock it, I should now be able to find that screen. And the screen knows to adjust its size to whatever size that panel is. So you can see here, and then you can do some editing. If I tab to that panel, so you can adjust like this. You can see here that's allowing you to adjust the screen depth to it. There's another one where you can adjust the spacing and the height of the screen. Which it really kind of matches that. There was one, but this is for the screen itself. So you can see with this one, and this is why sometimes getting stuff from Revit like Revit City is not exactly as you may want. So you can see how this screen is like kind of set back, probably more than you would want it to be, depending on like if it was like an exterior screen. And sometimes they do have, I think like if I go to a glass panel and go to its type, you can see this offset. So if I change this offset to like 1 foot, that it'll see how it offsets it, like, and it's not part of the system anymore. Sometimes if you get a Revit family that's a system panel like this, you may find that offset where you can fix it. I don't see an offset here though to it. And then you can see here how you can't grab any of the materials to this type of panel. So this is where you can go to edit family, and then if we look at it in 3D, now this is where we can click on this and see that there's no material to it. So this is where we can add a new one, and I'm just going to call this chest material. And then you'd have to, this one, you'd have to add it, change each one to test material, or whatever name that you gave it. And then if you look at it in a floor plan, you can kind of see like how it is. Sometimes to like kind of mess with it, maybe you can move it up. I want to move it a foot. And it kind of like makes it wonky. It's weird, like sometimes they're just really weird to work with, and it may be best just to and then you overwrite existing and parameters, so it would update the materials. But I was saying sometimes it's just a pain to actually change, where it may be easier just to create it, use a model in place that way. But now you can see if I go to the Manage tab of Materials, Test Material loaded in now. So now I can change, the test material to, whatever type of material I want it to be. Say if it's wood. Oops, didn't go. That did. And then you can see that one that I changed is the parent. So that's how you can change the materials if you can't find them and you have to change